Iain Dale at Drive on LBC.
It's 4:51. The House of Commons is debating the second reading of the High-Speed 2 bill today. There's going to be rebellions on all sides of the House. Labour have been whipped to support the government bill, but I suspect there'll be quite a few Labour MPs rebel. Certainly there are going to be about 30 rebels on the Conservative benches, and I suspect there's the odd Liberal Democrat one too. David Lidington, the Europe Minister, said he will resign from the Foreign Office if his constituency doesn't get the fair mitigation that the local area deserves. His words, not mine. That's quite some threat for a minister like David Lidington to threaten that. Let's see if he delivers on that. And of course, the Institute of Economic Affairs, they have issued a report today which says the north of England will not see the kind of economic benefits promised from HS2. We're going to have a longer debate on HS2 after 7 o'clock, but let's get a sort of prequel to that with Trevor Smith, who's a business leader from Ashford, and also Richard Houghton, HS2 Action Alliance representative. Let's go to you first, Trevor. Now, you are a businessman in Ashford, and you think that HS1, the high-speed rail line going through North Kent, has actually been a good thing.
Yes, I think it's been quite good for Kent businesses. With HS1 has opened the whole county up to the rest of Britain, actually, with faster connections from many towns through Kent into London than elsewhere through the country. And Ashford especially benefited from the reduction from like an 80-minute journey into London down to a 38-minute journey now. So it's helped Ashford businesses a lot over the last few years, yes.
But presumably only those that actually use it. I mean, how has it actually boosted the local economy more widely?
I'd say sort of some of the promises we've had over the years with Eurostar promised all sorts of stuff when they came into Ashford. They actually went back on their word and actually withdrew most of the service when Ebbsfleet opened. So Ashford didn't actually have the boost that it could have done long term with the reduction of Eurostar services and the increase of HS1 didn't really affect Ashford much. Some business would say they can get into London easier and do business better across the country better, but I think there'll be as many businesses in Ashford who says it hasn't really affected their business at all. It's good for commuters because they've got the choice now going the 38-minute connection or the 81-minute connection now into London, and it's also good for people like myself. I can actually choose which trains I want to go on because I work from home, so I can actually go on the trains I choose to actually maximise my journeys that I want to do with the minimal cost.
Trevor, stay on the line. Let's get a reaction from Richard Houghton from HS2 Action Alliance. Richard, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, if it worked, if the HS1 worked, why wouldn't HS2 work?
Yeah, I think, first of all, if you look at the HS1, it's running at 30% the predicted passenger capacity, and those who didn't use it have been paying above average increase in fares to help pay for it. So it's not exactly been a huge success. I think HS1, we're debating tonight the hybrid bill for the Phase 1, just London to Birmingham. You can do 1 hour, 24 minutes every 20 minutes during the day from Birmingham to London. There's been no demand for a faster service. And the analysis of the business case shows that speed, that increased speed, doesn't deliver any benefit, really. I mean, you had to assume that nobody works on trains to get any sort of financial benefit out of the additional speed. So we don't think that's really credible. And the other arguments the government put forward, it's green, well, it's not, it's saying carbon neutral. Wider economic benefits, they had to throw £250,000 at KPMG to come up with a methodology that stacked up for them but was then ridiculed by the other academics. And lastly, the capacity argument, which they're very fond of pushing, is really not based on the truth. I mean, their own figures show that West Coast Main Line runs at 52% capacity at peak, whereas trains into Paddington and London Bridge are running at 99%, at the moment 95%. So overall, I'm afraid to say it's built on untruth, and they've been desperately trying to hide those things. We've had a veto last used in the Iraq War to protect the Major Projects Authority report from coming out. We had all the details for the MPs being issued the day before the Easter recess. It goes on. You know, this is a bit of a contract.
I mean,
on the British public.
Given all of that, it seems astonishing to me, therefore, that Mary Cray, the Shadow Transport Secretary, she has made clear that Labour is now going to back the project, because there have been some doubts about that over the past few months, but they've come round on it.
There's no doubt. Well, I think Ed Balls is doubtful, and I think, you know, he probably still is. Let's be honest about it. £70 billion, which is what the Treasury think it'll cost, not the 50 that DfT think, is a lot of money, which could buy him a lot of political capital in the next election if he needed it. In terms of why it's gone through, I think it's important to remember where it started. It started with the Tories looking for an alternative to a third runway at Heathrow, and it isn't. And then Andrew Adonis, who's a bit of a train spotter himself, pushing it through in his own passion. I mean, Peter Mandelson has been quoted as saying they came up with the idea to look modern. I think it's one of those things, unfortunately, that's gained political credibility where the general public don't want it, 52% don't want it. The train industry didn't want it, the DfT didn't want it for the first 10 years.
Richard, Trevor, thank you very much indeed. That's Trevor Smith, businessman from Ashford, and Richard Houghton from HS2 Alliance.